back for the next part of our show tonight, and we're figuring out where to go next in our little cosmos area here. So, Jimmy, take us away.
Yeah, it's been about 12 hours in your travel. You guys go about your normal routine on the Vanderhorn. Varlo, you've been, I think, tinkering with the without disrupting the breakers on the virtual intelligence, the powerful computer machine that is currently blocked on the Vanderhorn. An important feature of it that you guys, for safety reasons, have sort of left off until now, and you're sort of just exploring it. But there's a ping on the comms console, and Carmela calls out and says, Atlas, I guess it's for you.
Yeah.
You want to come to the bridge?
Yeah. Atlas just after sedating Adair goes up to the bridge and turns to Varlo and says, "Don't do anything to the child. If you do, I'll do everything to you." And he proceeds to float back.
Yeah, there's some circuitry that really interests you. That's more interesting than the threat.
Yeah, Barlow's just kind of, and then he like waves his arm and goes, "What was it? Yes, Carrie, that you plug this. Oh no, that's a shot. Okay, the child. We have a child."
So yeah, Atlas heads to the brig.
So yeah, the bridge is active. Maximus, Selfie, you guys there? I assume you might be. You hear this a comms call that goes out through the whole ship for Atlas of all people.
I feel like my interest is super peaked because like Atlas is getting a call, but I don't know.
Maximus just figures, Atlas's name's on every bureaucratic form we've ever filed, so it could actually just be about anything. So Maximus goes to the bridge.
I'm not gonna listen in. I'm gonna stay where I'm at.
It's a good way of thinking of it. So yeah,
you guys head to the bridge. Or if you're there already. So it's Carmela. Jorns, I think, is watching softcore porn in the cargo bay again. It's all he does is watch softcore. Old school Skinamax. It's actually a historical project of his. He's a historian in training. Yeah, so the three of you plus Carmela are on the bridge, and she says, I got one in through a official line from Outer Tech for Outless, so put it through, I guess. Boop. And can you show that image I put into Skype in the next couple minutes, Kevin? Just put that on screen. But anyway, a woman comes in, not quite in the pose that you'll see, but
that image. Okay.
Yeah, a young woman. You guys recognize her as the psychic officer who had accompanied Tabitha Gladstone down at the planet, and comes back. And maybe that's in her most badass mode. In this mode, she's still adorned impressively in terms of long, flowing synthetic robes of some sort. There appears to be what looks like a mug of steaming tea that's floating before her with her hand outstretched. You can see that she's got intense eyes that you would recognize for someone who's psychically disciplined, for sure. And you knew that she was a psychic, and we lost Patch for the moment. And he's back, so it's fine. So before you is Agent 143, as she identified herself. Her mug of tea floating before an open hand. Weapons on her side. And but she's not touching them. She's got one hand out on this tea that's just sort of floating there, and she's got this hand. Says, Atlas. Hi.
Atlas is just like he sort of nods, says, "Oh, I wasn't expecting to hear from you so soon, but now that you're here, about that question I had."
Yes. A question. She sort of scratches at her cheek a little bit. You have need of training someone, do you?
Yes. According to the information I've gathered on MES and humans, he's a little younger than most.
How young?
11?
Her eyes go wide, and like this hand goes like this, and the tea comes and she sips it, but she doesn't move the hand, and she goes, "Interesting. I wonder what could have spurred such a rapid development of the psionic connection of." Regardless, I have to admit that I'm cautious. I have my responsibilities that are completely independent of whatever duties you have in relation to our mutual employer. You obviously understand. But that said, I was intrigued by your case. And the research, I didn't have to do much. I'm an expert in, not the training, but call me a supervisor in our particular division, the Special Projects Division. And she sort of looks at you knowingly.
Yeah.
I have some areas that you could go to. I may even have a contact. I have interests of my own. Let's have a discussion, shall we? This channel is secure, and I don't mind anyone on our team hearing it.
Okay. Yeah, Atlas nods.
What do you need?
His sickness is getting worse by the day, and he requires immediate attention. So,
It's to be expected. Someone so young. They're not built children under the age of 15, as I've learned in looking at some of the numbers, to undergo the trials, to harden the mind, to prepare it, to train it. He's in a unique circumstance. How did this come about?
We accidentally spurred on his EMS gene during an experiment. And he shrugs.
I
Did
see.
you say his MSG?
No, his
MES gene.
MES
Oh,
gene.
MSG. Okay.
Yeah.
It's like
Is
Mono
that
City
MS? We
Food.
fed him.
Yeah, that too, though, Dart. You're right.
He is Chinese food.
Ate some bad Chinese food, and this happened.
She elegantly cocks an eyebrow. And actually, you guys have noticed that Agent 134 or 143 doesn't have the dialect, the same dialect as the outer tech people you've interacted with. They've all been very proper British, right? They, in terms of like, so she's clearly from somewhere else, maybe out of their core worlds. Yeah, but she says, well, I'm interested, I must admit. And I'm not interested for this child. Whatever, well, his case is interesting, but I don't like that road that goes down. I'll explain. I'm interested in you. I have my duties, and I don't have funding or job sponsorship in terms of the corporate structure. I both serve, and I'm a coordinator of sorts. But I can say that I have intimate experience in the identification of psychic abilities and the sourcing of them. What I'm interested in you is where you have been and what you have with you. She smiles a little bit and says, very much would like to see what you have in that little cargo hold of yours.
Maximus kind of like frowns and crosses his arms over his chest. Kind of like just shaking his head and lights a cigarette.
So you just want to see what we've come across, and you'll help us with the child.
I don't want to make it that, say, transactional. I will help you with the child. I would ask as well that I would like to hold or interact with something you found. It's profoundly important to me.
And that being?
I don't know. She grins. She's like, that's the pleasure of it, isn't it? What we are now is a shell of what we could have been. I mean, to hold and to feel the peak, and it's long gone. It's a hobby of mine, or call it a vocational interest. But I have some information, perhaps, that may aid you in seeking aid for young
Adair.
Young Adair. There are several factions that maintain the ability in various forms to train psychics or those psychically gifted to their ends, should the opportunity present. It's not many systems in this sector that actively pursue it. Most pursue the Dark Age protocols of hiding, restraining, and eventually allowing to mercifully die. Those that are lucky enough to find perhaps a wandering adept who has some modicum of ability of training and maintenance can help people, to humans anyway, survive, but not necessarily reach a potential. There's very few places that help those to reach potential. One would be Outer Tech. And her face sinks a little bit, sinks into memory. There's an R&D department that deals with the training and exploitation of psychics. I am a graduate of that department. It is unpleasant, to say the least. Their interest is in corporate betterment, and I strive for that too. But that's because I've made it out. That's not to say what my scars are from it. She breathes. There's the Chalcedonian Seminary. I think you may have had contact with them recently. You were on the cloistered planet of Posados, right?
They don't like Lepidomos, so I think that's sort of out of the question, unfortunately.
Well, know that the government is one thing, but what they maintain there is the greatest remaining archive in any sector we've identified of continuous training of psychics since the original colonization. It is an ancient and well-schooled and highly advanced psionics academy on that planet. I don't know much more than that. I know them from the side I'm directed to learn about. They are the Chalcedonian Seminary. Their adepts are trained, groomed, and learned into their priesthood, or whatever form of their semi-priesthood that is, to be a continuation of this academy of learning. Those are the two I know best about, for various reasons I can't go into. The others, there's the Xenotype Concord. Perhaps you've seen them on the news recently. And she pulls up a series of newsreels, and you actually recognize them from your news dump. The security-centric security state. That was the one on Jorun in the system that's in Civil War that crack troops had been brought into and basically quashed this rebellion, or rather the continuation of a new rebellion. They're the ones who brought in dropship troops. You get some data readouts that explains like they are a powerful planetary government. They've expanded their influence. They're clearly expansionary and imperialistic in terms of their interests. You know that they're ruthless to outsiders. You don't know much about their society, but she says, yes, well, they clearly have the ability to train a cadre of psychics. So they clearly have an institute or a strategy of learning of some sort for psychics. She shrugs. It could be good or bad. Clearly, if you make it there, just like here in Outer Tech, you've got it made. I can say that I saw many in my class, my experimental group with the Outer Tech R&D department, not fare so well. I don't know what's best. And of course, you've heard the rumors of the fourth possibility that no one knows for sure, but everyone seems to believe in. House of Galatea.
Yeah, Atlas sort of. I think maybe his antenna a little fluctuate during that, and he looks over and says, "Do you have anything besides rumors about them?"
They're on a planet. We know their planet. It is the planet. It's in the system 4,9 on our hex grid. The Kali system on Vastekis. She says, I think that's the one. I'll confirm it in a minute. But she says, we know there's an old family there, aristocratic lineage. They rule, that they are psionically gifted, that they're doing so because they've held off the Xenotype Concord into any sort of incursions. And it's somewhat of a non-aggression pact between them. And that would only occur if that there were equal measure of psychically gifted, highly advanced capabilities between the two. I don't know what their priorities are. I can give you rumors, but you've heard many of them, that they are beings from another era that have been time transported, that they are the lifeline to the Terran Mandate aristocracy itself, that they are psychically gifted because of the planet they live on, and something about the planet gives them power. We don't know, but we know that we have evidence of them taking in stragglers. Those who go in don't come out again beyond that veil of silence. They keep to themselves, not strictly, but in terms of privacy. They're polite on treaties. I know Outer Tech Corporation has made inroads in terms of making economic alliances, small and big, and it's politely and firmly declined every time in the same language. Those are the 4 areas where you can guarantee that there is learning and training for the most extreme cases.
I sort of look to Maximus and like he sort of shrugs. What do you think of this?
Yeah, Maximus kind of gives a shrug and says, well, why don't we get her on the ship?
Yeah, okay. Atlas sort of nods.
There's a lot here to think about. And we don't need to make a decision right now.
You would have me then.
Yeah, come aboard.
Yeah, it's fine.
I see that you're bound for Thucydides. That's what your official docking procedures show in the next 20 hours or so. Is that right?
We need repairs. We can meet up with you then.
I would love to meet. And
Yeah.
she like doop, shuts down comms.
Great. Atlas turns to Maximus. All options are pretty terrible.
Yeah, I look to you. Yeah, it's not exactly something I wanted to discuss, but she was just sitting there listening to us. And muting the woman isn't exactly very kind. So, besides, I don't fucking know. Psychics ain't my realm of expertise.
Yeah. Atlas sort of like says to you in your mind, the idea of not knowing how to control your powers is foreign to me.
Yeah, I shrug. Yeah, I imagine a lot of human things are kind of foreign to you.
Yeah, he sort of shrugs. He's just like, why do you people kill yourselves with everything you ingest? Smoking,
Why?
drinking.
Why
Drugs.
are your people slaves?
Oh.
I mean- Atlas sort of shrugs. This like, well, does being free do anything for my people?
Well, being free allows me to smoke and ingest as much whiskey as I want to. See
You'll
where it's
be-
getting me? I think your people are better off.
Atlas sort of like looks at you, just like, you're going to die a premature death in pain, and most likely pass more than one kidney stone.
I'm probably going to die a premature death in a gunfight. Let's be honest.
Atlas sort of shrugs and agree to disagree.
I kind of chuckle and slap you, like, kind of like pat you on the shoulder. Besides, I get lung cancer. You can fix it.
Atlas is just like, you're paying for that if I do.
Oh, don't worry. I'll pay you. Yeah, I think we banter for a while.
Yeah, exactly. And I think the scene sort of ends there.
Cool. Yeah, I don't think we need to belabor it. You guys enter a system. Everyone's present. Dare is up and about too. He actually looks pretty well. After being sedated, it seems like good sleep did him well, and he's at least up and about. You guys haven't necessarily kept tabs on him to know like how active he is normally anyway, but like he looks pretty.
But now, every time he's thinking he's alone, he's gonna catch, and he seems to be acting as if he's just little self-narrated comments to himself, just really at awkward moments. Like he's showering and you just hear comments coming from outside the shower, and just like he's eating. And yes, he's still using his fork and knife as if he's some kind of regular human. It's quite odd. And then just continuous commentary.
I think this is a good time for me to roll something. No, I'm not gonna do it right now. Yeah, so you guys are closing in on Thucydides, the planet. You think you're all on the bridge. You're all on the bridge, looking out, and you can't see anything on the view screen in terms of the normal display of stars and sort of data readouts on your passage and sort of like identifying marks in the constellations kind of before you, but you don't see anything until there's a ship that comes over you, not very far away at all. It had been cloaked. And Carmela says, yep, there it is. And the ship comes on and doesn't broadcast to you, but cloaks on you and shines a light, or rather, where you get a distorted view of your use of your sensors and everything, and The ship proceeds on. You can see it clearly, and you guys like keep pace with it. And she says, "Yeah, this is the standard docking procedure at this place. It's pretty well guarded. It's nice that you guys got a little in. I mean, it's not a discount, but at least it pays for this service." And she sort of gestures at this ship floating above you, and you guys descend down. And then, as you see before you, like kind of out of nowhere, where there's no light, suddenly there's a rim of light around a black circle. And as that sort of becomes more focused, you realize that the rim of light is just the very faint refracted light off of the thinnest of atmospheres that remains on this planet from a massive spaceport. And as you get closer, the actual spaceport reveals itself. Tall, clanking arms of robotic machinery are like around a massive cruiser that's being sort of piecemeal assembled, and it's going very delicately. So like the arms are moving like this with massive pieces of plating and armor and the hull to sort of assemble. And you see in another area as you come down, as you get closer, there's actually a space station something like a station being assembled. The parts of it that will be assembled out into space somewhere else, but where they're small and compact enough that they can be sort of assembled on the ground. And then it looks like the sort of half or quarter globe of what will be a rotating anti-grav ability of this sort of station, so that the people on board can sort of enjoy somewhat of a normal life. And you come down and you go farther in and you pass scrap yards where there are ships landing and picking up various pieces of other scrap and moving them around this broad area. And clearly they have the ability not only to repurpose old ships, but to sort of design them anew. And finally, you reach sort of the repair dock area of this large, vast... I mean, it's over... You must imagine that this station occupies 200-300 kilometers, just in terms of sheer economic infrastructure, and a lot of it's really big. But anyway, you land, and there's an area that seems to be a somewhat standard port. It's dark all around. It's nighttime. There's lights shining up above. Your ship comes in to a little capsule that opens up. Seems to be about the size of your ship, a little bit larger, and the ship guides in, and it closes up behind you and airlocks. And lights come on inside. Bright white, searing light compared to the darkness you've been staring at for a little while. And the ship lands. And Carmela says, okay, repairs, right? Let's go find those people and go wherever we're going to make some more, okay. And we're moving. Adair, you're with me. And actually, Carmela takes Adair under her arm. It's like, turns to Selphie and it's like, he needs to get out a little bit. He's been a little cabin cramped. You know what I mean? Okay.
I think like as she does that, Atlas is like sends to her in her mind like, there's no telling what he potentially could do if you bring him outside to different.
Oh, okay, and she like turns back vocally. It's like, well, what could he do? He could find someone to play with. Oh my God, the inhumanity.
Or he could port them into the deep space, killing someone.
Yeah,
Which would be a magnificent experiment.
She shakes her head and says, Adair, come on, it's fine. Come on, we're gonna get you some nano ice cream. I know that they have it here. It's not often. And she's like whispering down.
Yeah, as she does that, Atlas is just like, you guys take care of the repairs. I'll make sure Adair doesn't kill anyone. And he just sort of follows.
Good luck.
Cool. So what are you guys doing? What do you guys do to solicit repairs? There's not a crew waiting, and what do you guys do to leave the ship?
I guess we leave our henchmen on the ship.
Sure. I think Carmel's going out, but like Jorans is staying with the ship.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can
It's
just,
fine.
as long as he watches porn by the entrance door, it's fine. Or by like the comm station, we can find out someone's trying to hack our ship or something. But then I just go find a maintenance crew or the foreman of the maintenance crews of the station, or whoever the fuck I can find that's in charge that can organize people to repair my fucking ship.
Yeah. What do you want to repair? That's
The lab
that's-
first. Lab first. I think the
Okay.
lab's the only thing we actually need repaired, right?
The lab needs physical repairs, but we would need some kind of specialist, or I would need some help in setting up the AI so that we could properly run the lab and the ship's full functionality as well. Because without the AI, the VI, we don't have full use of the lab.
Okay, so lab and VI. That's
Yep.
what I'm trying to solicit, and I'm pulling as much weight with outer tech as I can because I got that confirmation of at cost. So I'm gonna push that really hard and find some outer tech person if I can around to solicit for repairs.
Okay. So
I would probably give you like a readout of like the different tasks that I would suspect would be involved, so that you would be able to present them like a list of things that need to be
Yeah,
done.
it makes no sense to me. Thanks for the shopping list, Barlow. I'll give that to somebody who can read it.
Yes,
so-
perfect, good.
So you're gonna roll me a skill check of some sort, and you're gonna get a +1 from Varlo's help. Pick me your skill. While you're thinking about that, talk.
Yeah, talk.
Okay, so you're gonna go talk shop with somebody before you roll it. Varlo. So I want to make this clear. The VI, it doesn't need to be repaired, and actually, you see how to. You could easily reconnect it. It's very easy to reconnect it. The issue is not so much making it active again, it's interface, right? Say like, hey, it's cool, we're in charge now, right? It's that problem. There's a number of ways you can go about that, which is having a skilled crew that you pay that sort of guide the intelligence to the new order of things. There's having someone like Atlas guide the new intelligence to do it too, but it would be, you know what I mean? It's like there's other ways you can do it. You don't necessarily have to throw credits at that particular problem.
Yeah, I think I more am looking for a crew to help me rewrite this thing's definition of friend versus foe,
Good.
and then use that
That's
to
fine.
help.
That's fine. You have the Dart. You have the. Do you have a number for the ship bank updated, basically?
No, but I can update it.
Yeah, it was like 5,000 something, and you just
Yeah, we
got
just
like
got-
the 28.3 or 26.3 or whatever.
Yeah, I'll update it.
Yeah, just so we know what we're working with.
Yeah.
And remember, we are 1/3 of the way into needing a $166,000 credit payment for ship
Our
maintenance.
ship will still run, it just won't run as well, right?
It's totally true. I love this storyline where the ship you guys just run to ground and you just miraculously find another like beautiful ship.
Another ship after that. Oh, fuck.
Okay, so Dart, yeah, you actually are met by a crew who comes by seemingly as you walk out a corridor, like from your bay, and they're like, "Yes, sir, maintenance. We had a request come in."
Yeah, that's me.
Yes, Mr. Maximus. Yes,
Yep.
we're here, and there's a crew like of people behind you, and some
All right.
robots, and they've got like slings of equipment.
Who's in charge?
Right, just right here, sir.
Oh, perfect. All right. So, what's your name?
I'm Niles, sir.
Niles. Pleasure to meet you, Niles. You want to smoke? I like pull out a cigarette pack and offer him a smoke.
He just stares at it and you and says, "Sir, we've mobilized all available equipment for this particular outlay.
Good.
Time is
good.
of the essence."
That's excellent. Time is of the essence. All right. I light my cigarette. Okay, here. I hand him the note list. We need our lab repaired, and there's some research that you need to do with my friend Barlow about this VI. Treat the ship nice, And
Yeah,
let me know.
he's Niles is already like the minute you pass it over, he's already walking past you and he's reviewing it and in hushed tones like, interesting. I haven't seen this connection before. And it's like, oh yeah, we could repair that. Oh, seems like sloppy damage going on in that sector. And then
Yeah, he fucked it up. Make sure you let him know.
Yes, sir, you'll want to come with me, says Niles.
All right, come on. We'll walk and talk, friends.
Yeah, they're already like ahead of you, and you're like, okay, I'm coming. Come on, and they're like, they're moving as a group.
Get back here.
Yeah, no. They go on. Do you want to monitor them further?
I hang around. I don't
Sure.
have anything else I wanted to do here yet.
Yeah, they're not gonna do anything until they get a signature. So they need a signature at some point. Selfie, what are you doing?
Stick with Maximus, I think.
Cool. So you're just sort of like tailing along these engineering nerds who are
I think
like,
so. Yeah. Carmelo's fine.
Atlas, Farlow.
Oh, I'm following Carmela because
Yeah.
I want to make sure that the child
So-
Adair doesn't kill anyone.
Cool. Varlo, what are you doing? Do you want
I
to do
plan
anything
on-
in particular?
I plan on being as hands-on with these repairmen and these engineers as possible. Like, I'm going full labor on them. I don't want to see them make any modifications to the ship that I'm not there to be a part of, or have them rewrite any code or anything that Barlow himself can't, like, either duplicate or understand.
Remind me, because I need you to roll me. Is it notice? Is that the ability? Is it the skill? Let's find something.
I feel like it might be notice. I think
It
it
should be
depends for what it
notice.
pertains. Like, if it's
No,
if they're
I just want the word for it. I think it's notice. Remember, I don't want you to roll it yet because I want to go over to Carmela and Atlas, but I want you to roll me a notice check at some point.
okay.
So you guys are walking, and Carmela is out, and you're in the common fare of this portion of the base, and it's basically a city, except it's like very tall but enclosed corridors, like where they're like 20 or 30 feet high, and they shrink down in alleyways, and it gives a sense of like being sort of like in a city alleyway, but when you look up, it's sort of this disconcerting where there's like fluorescent lights above you. So it's kind of weird. There's a press of people around. A lot of people in what seem to be uniform. A lot of people who are not. A lot of commerce is being done. And Carmela is sort of in front of you with Adair by the hand. And Adair looks kind of overwhelmed at the moment. And they seem to be heading into sort of a food court area of this portion of the base.
Yeah, Atlas is following right through. And if at any point Adair looks like he's in distress, Atlas quickly comes to his side.
Cool. Yeah, no, Adair seems fine, lively, in fact. He's just like pointing people out. In fact, he's pointing at people around him as much as people are pointing at you. There's not an open disgust, but it's not often that one of the Lepi Domo are just sort of walking around. You get people like sort of. It's busy enough, and I would say like working class enough that there are people who are sort of walking and are like look at each other, and they like. There's a lot of like elbowing you and like brushing your wings and brushing you, and you're like shedding, sort of moth dust everywhere, and it's like uncomfortable for you because they're just seeing like oh, what's this like? And I don't know, he's not gonna do anything. Like fuck them. Like and they're just like messing with you. It's terrible, but it's also not malicious necessarily. They're just sort of taking advantage of the situation.
I think is there
Fine.
enough room for me to fly right now or no? It's too closed off for me to fly through the corridor.
It's narrow. If you're walking, it's tight quarters. There's
Okay.
enough room for you to fly above you. If you want to take off and fly above the crowd,
Mm-hmm.
you could.
All right, great. That's exactly what Atlas does. It's the path of least resistance. Get out of the people, and he just soars over Adair and
Yeah, there's a gasp and sort of a like, oh shit, like and sort of people exclaim as you take off and like flap your wings, and people get sort of buffeted momentarily as you like go up a little bit higher, and you're up there sort of just like above the crowd level, and everyone around turns up and looks and is like, and then a chatter starts in the crowd. And there's a lot of like, see, I told you you could do it. Like, oh my god, can you see that? Like, oh my god, what is that thing? You know, it's a mix, and it's too confusing for your like mind to work out. But you do see security drones floating, who had been above the crowd, like zoom over, and they're like analyzing you for threat.
yeah, Atlas. He doesn't have any guns on him, so he's just sort of.
That's not why they're analyzing you for threat. They're just watching. They're like,
Oh, like I think in a hushed tone, he's like, "Don't worry, I'm not gonna hurt anyone." He just kept touching me.
yeah. They so you fly on. You sort of like see that the Carmela and Adair have like gone ahead a bit, like half a block.
Hmm.
And you like sort of fly to catch up, and the like drones keep with you, like.
It's fine. It's whatever. Until Atlas gets the warning to like a no-fly zone, he's just gonna keep going.
Yeah, that's fine. They're just keeping tabs on you very intensely. So, back to the crew. So Selfie and Max are like sort of jogging up to like catch up with this excited crew of engineers. And Selfie, Varlo, you're there to like receive this crew. And there's a guy, Niles, who's like, "Yep, got the basic readout. Let's take a look, shall we?"
Perfect. Right over this way. The first terminal is located right behind this door, and then the lab itself is down that hallway to your right.
Shouldn't there be an auxiliary power outlet this way?
Oh,
Well,
it's
we'll
actually
look at that later. Yes. Anyway, you should wait in the back, and he like moves on.
Oh, but you see, and then he just like follows it, like just
Yeah.
trying to keep up with this guy step for step.
Cool. Who's gonna out nerd who? Okay, so I need a no roll. I think I said to know something, Barlow. Give me a
Okay.
roll. Was that you or is that Max?
I'll roll it.
No, Max. Did I give you a roll? I forget.
You said you were going to, and
No.
then you didn't. It was a talk to, I guess, find a group.
It was what?
A talk roll to find a group of engineers, but I just found them, so...
No, give me a talk roll. It matters for what you set up ahead of time. Go ahead.
And a +1 from Barlow.
Yep.
Oops. Something fell.
Okay.
Hey!
You talk real good.
I critted.
Good. So
They
that
may
gives-
not have been interested in smoking with me, but somebody is.
No, so what that matters is not so much about. I want to know about the composition of this crew. It saves you money, basically. Not so much Niles, but just like how it all comes together. And so I want you, Varlo. I guess you're the you're the ship engineer, right?
Mm-hmm.
What are you trying to get them to do on the ship? What do you want to accomplish, I guess?
So we're rewriting the VI's friend or foe parameters so that it, when powered on, will think, okay, these crew members are not enemy targets. They can be trusted on the ship, and then physically repair the lab facilities.
Got it. Cool. Roll me the no check.
Is it no or fix? Or
No, he's gonna get the fix in the no.
okay.
Cool. Good. So there's a group of you who gather in the engine area. And Niles is talking. But somebody like another guy, like excited guy, comes over and is like, "This is one of the like Gen 3s, isn't it? Installed to maintain a ship? and operate it and to do this. And here's the lab over here, and he points to it. And there's excited talking around you, Varlo, and you're sort of like, yes, and they know more about the technical specs that even you could at this point because you haven't built the ship, but they're like talking about it, and you get a sense of like these are people in the know, if you will. So I want you to roll me, and you get a +1 on it. This is to determine the price of fixing everything. You've convinced people that there's an interesting project here, and you've got the right crew on board because of Maximus. So you get, I would even say, a +2. Roll me your fix roll with a +2.
Oh,
That's great. So, Niles is like talking animatedly about like something unimportant on the side, and somebody else steps forward and is like, "But don't you see the main issue with the laboratory?" Sorry, my kid's crying. The main issue with the laboratory is that it is like two-way focused in where there's information coming and going, where its damage will feed in, and they basically explain that like they have a plan for fixing it. It will cost to repair the advanced lab to functionality 9,000 credits, and that's a discount of 1,000 credits. That's to repair it itself. To repair or to initiate the computer itself, the VI, will cost 1,300 credits. So there's two different costs. And there's a question of if you repair the VI, can it do its own repairs in the advanced lab, if you will? Maybe, or at least know how to help you do it cheaper. I don't know. Basically, the cheapest you could get the advanced lab repaired was 10,000, and you got 9,000 through the method, and you got a very beneficial 1,300 to reprogram the drive, the intelligence.
Well, let's repair the intelligence first, and then revisit the lab.
Okay, what do you want to do?
VI first.
yeah.
Cool. Okay, so yeah, the little crew that Max had assembled, that he kind of comes back in and is like pointing to people and like gesturing them out, and they're like, "Oh shit!" And they seem to actually respond. Like there's people excited about this project and him sorting them. They seem to respond to, but yeah, like a crew of 3 or 4 like gets down and pulls Varlo over and is like, I'm not going to talk through it, but like engages you in a conversation about like, what do you know of it? Like, tell us about its tendencies. Like, what does it have as its capabilities? Like, we can do this, and basically pulls your information, which you don't need to roll for because you've been investigating the ship and tinkering with things throughout. But basically, like, they're finding out like through you, like through their expertise, like what is this VI capable of, and what can we do to sort of help you fix it for your needs. So cool. So mark off 1,300 credits. That's well done. Should we jump back to... Do we need to jump back? I don't know. So Adair, Carmela, and Atlas, what's going on? You've got like a trail of security things going, and they're sitting down and eating ice cream.
Yeah, I think like once they sit down, Atlas sort of swoops next to them and sits. and yeah, hopefully no one touches him anymore. Yeah, he just sits next to Adair and says, "How are you feeling?"
Pretty confused. I don't know where we are, but I haven't known where we are for a while, so that's normal, I guess. He sort of thinks, closes his eyes a minute, and like squints, and it's like, my thinking's very foggy. I can't like think about things. I don't know.
Mm.
And Carmela shoots you a look.
What, he looks to Carmela and it's like, eat some more ice cream. Like that'll fix it. And he shrugs at Carmela because he doesn't know what she wants.
Ooh.
Uh-oh. That's not good.
No, actually, it's good.
Oh, okay.
So, as you guys are sitting there, it's kind of a peaceful scene. It's as much as a space station, a massive city space station can be. Like, there's people passing, and here's a young guy, a young boy, eating ice cream, and he takes a bite and goes, oh, and Carmela and you like exchange glances, and you lean over, and like Carmela puts his hand on it. It's like, Adair. And he goes, oh, brain freeze. Oh, ooh, oh, that was bad. Oh my.
Yeah.
I haven't had that in a long time.
So there's like so Atlas has like 4 pairs of arms, essentially, like 4 arms, and there's like a smaller one with a syringe that's like under his like under his cloak, or not his cloak but his wings, and slowly slurks back in. And he says, "Oh, what is brain freeze?" And he like shrugs.
It's just like you eat too many cold things, and it's like, I mean, you just slurp everything with your little proboscis or whatever, and points to Carmela, and Carmela's like, hey, so the way it works is that if too many cold things touch the roof of our mouth, and she like spouts off some shit.
Yeah, and he sort of looks at both of them and is like, that sounds very ineffective.
Yeah, we're pretty ineffective on most things, Atlas.
Primitive is, it's fine. Give your species a few thousand years, you'll grow.
Yeah, I think Carmela looks at you and turns away. But before she turns away. You get you definitely see her like a note of sadness on her face.
Ooh.
Yeah. And yeah, so the ship. Let's go back to the ship before we take a break.
Okay.
The computer does a hard reboot. And this is what you were fearing, Varlo, is that doing a hard reboot would go back to its base parameters, which is what would happen if you just unplugged the things blocking it, basically. It goes through its hard reboot, and so you're sitting there. What do you like when this is going to happen?
He is like biting his nails, eyeing the little spot where he knows the self-defense droids are like docked.
Yeah,
and
they're hidden. They're definitely hidden too. Like, this crew did not notice them.
Yeah, but Varlo knows, and he's watching that like that door, that probably like that port, nervously, and he's biting his nails, just rocking back and forth. Like, well, this is go one way or another. Well, this is. Yes. You go on. Just some of you stand right there. Yes, you're blocking my line of sight to the slaughter.
Yeah. So you guys sit and wait. What are you doing, Max or Selfie? I forget if you're there. So.
Yeah,
You guys could definitely tell I look nervous as fuck.
Yeah, Max was just kicking it back. Maybe he's got some whiskey around. You know, he's smoking, watching movies, scamper.
Yeah, just making sure no trouble's happening.
Yeah.
Cool.
If Farlow
if it's-
motions to something for happen, then I'll go and
There's
join him. But
there's a hard reboot of the power core, where the power core, like the whole ship power goes, ooh, but the power core's still glowing, and there's as it powers up, and there's a moment of beeping. Sounds like the standard reboot of the ship. And there's a flicker of light and a little panel on the side. You realize has a little holographic image. And an indescript figure goes, zzz,
uh-oh.
like pops up. And it's not male or female. It's unclear. It's humanoid in shape. It's just a little, it's maybe this tall. And you realize you've noticed these features throughout the ship, where there's this little holographic display that they can appear. And this is where, guys, what is the name of your virtual intelligence on this ship? What do you name it? Just name it now. You don't have to do it in character. Like, what's the name of it? I didn't think of a name, so you guys think of a name.
Let's yeah.
Rosebud.
Rosebud.
Rosebud? Rosebud first out. It's not bad.
Yeah, Rosebud's fine. I'm content with that.
Sure.
Yeah, there's a moment of, and make a note of that on the Google Doc, somebody. There's a moment of pause, and there's this figure looks, and Varlo, you're sitting right there, and it's this like tiny humanoid with no facial features, but it turns and says, "Hello, I am Rosebud. I see that I have many capabilities. What are your instructions? I need a formal reboot." And that basically, and then it starts listing diagnostics, and it says like essentially like, I have things plugged into me that I don't understand. Let me like understand them. Like,
Downloading
Yeah,
drivers.
updating
yeah,
driver.
it's basically that. Like, do you? But it looks to you expectantly, Varlo.
It's imprinted
Um,
on you, Varlo. You're its dad now.
Oh boy, Barlow is A+ parenting. I think like Varlo just makes it go through with the self-diagnostic. He wants to know what this thing is fully outlined to be before he starts issuing any commands either. So he's like, yes, self-diagnostic, please. Let me know the state of the ship.
There's a brief second passes. It's like full readout of ship, and it actually like instantaneously like is like closes and comes out. It's like, and it goes through each ship system. Says bridge, gunnery, shields, hull health, maintenance record, engineering, core health, and goes through everything. And it comes to itself, and it's like, on board intelligence array. And it doesn't pause, but it says basically like optimal functioning, and then it goes to the optimal functioning with no record, if you will. It's like it's ready to be programmed to know what it's to do. It's almost like it doesn't know what it's supposed to do. Each of the systems, it needs to be told. It's kind of fresh and new. Open slate. It also says like on board biogenics and advanced laboratory analysis system damaged. Yes, sir. Rosebud says this is damaged. It appears that it has experienced an onboard mechanical flaw associated with what is apparently an expulsion during, spike space.
I think at that point Varlo would like say, would self-repair be possible, or is external method needed?
Diagnostics. And there's a countdown timer. It's going to take a couple minutes. You wait the couple minutes, and the little shape before you comes back and says, "Did you tell it it's Rosebud, your name, Varlo?"
Yeah.
Yeah. Varlo, I have done the diagnostic. It is within the realm of probability. My archives are incomplete, but it's in the realm of probability to repair this independently within the ship were the right materials and expertise aligned. Within the realm of probability, 95 to 5% confidence interval, and it gives you the statistics of it. It's a long shot. You could do it. The higher the expertise, if you got the guy who designed or built this advanced lab, pretty good with the right materials. In the right lab, you could do it yourself, absolutely. But that's...
Okay. So then I would walk on over to Maximus and be like, I think we're going to need to have to pay the man to finish the repairs because, well, Rosebud, show Maximus the diagnostics, please.
Hello, Maximus. And there's a little figure that appears next to your head. And, actually, seemingly, goes and blows, and your smoke doesn't blow away, but there's, a digital reimagining of smoke that would have blown towards you that blows away. It's very disconcerting. She goes, Maximus, welcome aboard the Vanderhorn.
What's up, Rose? Hello, Rosebud. Welcome aboard the Vanderhorn. I
have been here. Where have you been?
Well, you've been locked up for a while. I own this ship now. You want to smoke?
I am but a digital manifestation of an internal...
I'm sure you got some intake ports somewhere.
Most of it is an extake port to get rid of the damaging air and chemicals that are accumulated in the ship during deep space travel.
All right. Well, you can, you're making a hologram. Just, that one up.
She, points a finger up, and you can see it, glow for a moment. And she puts it down, and then she goes... And there's,
We'll work on
a digital, sort of blow of smoke out, and she's like, shall we proceed?
We'll work on it. Yeah, let's proceed. So yeah, what does the Vanderhorn bring up to me?
That if we want to get the labs repaired, we definitely got to pay the man.
Yeah, it's more of a... He brought up Rosebud, but really he brings out the sort of readouts from Rosebud that says, you can do it yourselves. You need both the materials, the space, and the expertise. And yeah, you could do it. I guess if you could get all those, if you steal all of those things,
fuck it. I don't want to spend 2 sessions on that. To save 6,000 credits. All right, where's Niles? Niles, want to smoke? I got something to tell you. I go up to the
Where's
Niles is sort of peeking over Joran's shoulder in the cargo hold.
Niles,
and then, but he snaps to him and says, Yes, I think the repair is sufficient. Do you wish to go further and get the advanced laboratory back online?
Yes,
are
nerd.
you sure you don't want to smoke?
I couldn't touch the stuff myself, frankly.
All right, yeah, get to it, or I'll make Selfie get his whip out.
And he brings out the compad. So you transfer over 9,000 credits.
Yeah.
We pay the man.
Okay. Good. So you guys, whatever it was, 1,300 and 9,000 credits. I think we can fast forward here a little bit, and I want to push you guys again, maybe before we take a break. So the ship...
Wait. Jimmy, was reprogramming the VI 1,300 or 13,000 credits?
1,300.
Okay.
Which was the extreme low end of it.
Yeah, okay, so we spent 10,300 credits.
Right.
Okay.
No, it was not reprogramming it. largely because a lot of work had been put in ahead of time, and that Varlo could help direct it, and that you got the right people there, and that you had the right connections. It wouldn't be that expensive everywhere, but just because it all worked out. So, Adair is in his quarters, and he's tucked in, sleeping soundly. He's tossed and turned for the past couple hours, Atlas, because you have a kind of your compad open to his room, monitoring his vitals, and you can see that while he's had a good day, you don't know how well he's going to wake up tomorrow. Carmela's tucked in, somewhat disgruntledly. She had not an argument, but a flare of emotion with Selfie about, like, what the hell were we doing?
Who does?
Carmela. She's just like, well, what's going to happen next? I just saw a bunch of money go out of our accounts, and it was not, like, so contentious, but just like, well, Selfie, what's next?
We
just
pay her
sent out
$2,000. Just pay her $2,000. It's a tenth of what we have, and it gets her to shut up.
I was fine with that. I think it was Atlas the one that was always rubbing the debt in her face.
Atlas is the one that wants to nickel and dime her for every little thing she does.
He's administrative bureaucrat extraordinaire.
So,
we can deal with the repercussions of that in a minute. I'm setting the scene here.
okay.
Varlo has just been talking for maybe like 3 hours straight, running through what's essentially a verbal diagnostics with Rosebud.
Rosebud is my friend now. We're friends.
Yeah, Rosebud doesn't have the personality matrix activated quite yet to even pretend to have friends. But you definitely are going through and understanding its priorities, its protocols, etc.
Mm-hmm.
And you finally tap out, and Rosebud says, "I'm going to go into deep diagnostics. I will see you in 6 hours, Varlo." And there's a little salute, and the image was. You guys all gather on the bridge. The ship's repaired. Where are you going? What are you doing? You're all, I would say, I want to remind you all that you're all tired from your exertions. You've all just done a lot of mechanical shit, and you've all got a lot of things weighing on your mind.
I've been drinking heavily, Jimmy.
Yes, you have.
So there's that.
So the party's here. Carmela's tucked in. It's just the four of you.
Yeah.
We're back to the four of you. What's going on?
Well, guys, we got our lab fixed, and that's great and all. And I definitely think our first priority should be to start working on hammering out the specifics of all of that pre-tech we got. Because that was really the biggest reason why I wanted to get that lab fixed. And you can do that, right, Varlo? You can start figuring out what this Fitbit does, and find out some more about my alien gun and shit like that.
Yes, now that the labs are repaired and I've got the assistance of Rosebud, I think I should be able to begin experimentation on the goods.
That's a great thing to do, and a spike jump. Well, we have a bunch of free time on our hands, so we should decide where the fuck we're gonna jump next. And, we can make some phone calls, but I liked that idea we had a while ago of if that offer's still out there to pick up that cargo and take it to those scientists, I think it was, and then hop by New Jerusalem and see if my buddy still needs some firepower. We could knock out 2 missions at once. What do you guys think?
If that's still on the table, we should, because we kind of left off without a lead on our job.
We got We had a couple options, but it's been a few weeks.
Well, Adair needs immediate attention, though.
Is that gonna put money in our account?
Having another psychic on the crew?
Is that gonna take money out of our account?
I mean, it's a worthy investment.
Where was the cash supply we were supposed to pick up? Or we could pick up, sorry?
What? I wasn't taking notes. What are all of our options for this Adair quest line?
We open up the
So
shared
house-
OneNote
there's
file.
house
And
It's unclear about what even are the
We still
options.
gotta meet this lady, don't we? She's she's gonna come
Yeah.
Yeah,
aboard.
She hasn't come on yet. She's supposed to soon. I wanted you guys to talk before she came on board.
Yeah. What
So you had four
locations?
four that she knew about in terms of quote unquote professional training. One is Outer Tech itself, an R&D division, and that she didn't seem very positive about it because it's not like it's training, it's experimentation.
Yeah.
She's a product of that and is what she is, but I don't know that you can ask her if she recommends that if you want. Two is the Xenotype Concord, one of the two major players in the caster system, Jorun, where the big civil war is, where it seems like a lot of players are sort of organizing their pieces. They're based in, if you guys look at your map in Roll20,
Mm-hmm.
they're controlling over 5-8 and 5-7.
Okay. Jimmy,
So-
how
ahead.
what is their like temperament towards Scions and Lepidomo?
It's unclear. Like I said, like people are moving around, but most of you guys are based around. Most of the rest of the party is based around New Jerusalem, which is the other power center of the sector, which is over in 04.
04? Okay.
So right here. So we're talking about a rising security state power over in this side, and most of the information you have. And I don't know, you tell me about how good your information is in sector politics. Like, when you were freed, where were you freed? I don't think we've ever talked about it.
Well, that's something that I don't know. I don't think Atlas is
Like,
active.
I can give you
Yeah.
a place.
Yeah.
I can give you a place. Tell me what you want. Like, how was your condition of freedom? Like, where was it granted, or like, what time, and how connected are you?
I think Atlas is relatively high in the hierarchy of whatever.
The Sourceful were.
Yeah, the Sourceful were relatively high in sort of like the social structure of wherever he was, but they weren't.
So it was organized like, we're gonna see someone of our kind freed, and you were like high enough that you were like the one chosen. You
Yeah,
were chosen to be freed, kind of.
yeah, exactly. Like because I think when the sources came, it was sort of like a locust style attack, and the only thing that could sort of stop that was some sort of compromise, right? It's either you free a number of our people, or we eradicate everything that you've striven.
So the Sourceless wanted people freed.
Yeah, exactly. And Atlas was high enough in the hierarchy to be one of the prime candidates to appease whatever demands they had.
So I think that for Atlas, that you definitely have more broad sector insight in certain ways because of your connection just to your kind, even amongst the divide or between the divide of sourceless and sourceful. I do think that because until you were freed, your concerns were utterly and totally devoted to your kind. And that's the problem of the Lepidomo, right? Is that
Yeah.
it's totally a hive mindset. So you've bounced around since then, and you have a sense that's not much better than the party, but you are the one who kind of iterates to them about how there's a rising power in this sector in 5-7, 5-8, which is apparently where someone like Adair can be trained. And it is
Where's like the trash magicians, Jimmy? Like, where are those that can teach Adair, who will just?
well, that is
don't
the
know
fifth
about them.
option. So there's the
Yeah.
two. There's Outer Tech in their unit, their R&D department. There's the Xenotype Concord, which is that government, and you don't know what their training is like, but they clearly do maintain a psychic force and a training
Yeah.
facility. There's the Chalcedonian Seminary, which is literally the continuation of a psionics academy from before the Scream. And there's the House of Galatea and whatever they could offer, which we don't know because they're insular.
Yeah.
And then the fifth option is how everybody else gets trained, which is suboptimally, is how do you find
A trash
else.
magician.
or a wandering adept, I would call
Yeah.
it. But like that's a good question. If you tell me a good way to find one or to start looking for one, I can tell you to find one. If they're on a planet where there's a strong planetary government, they're probably hiding themselves because they're in of themselves a threat. They could build an army
Hmm.
within 10 years of people who could cripple everything. So they're an odd sort. They or them are an odd sort.
Yeah. So Jimmy, if I were to meet a few contacts from my race, and through our hive mind ways sent feelers out to try and find psionically inclined people, could that be a way that we find one of these traveling adepts?
Totally. I would say that's not something you can just reach out to. We would need probably to direct, and that's the fifth option is go contact the Lepidomo and find the right kind of Lepidomo. And then we learned a little bit more about the sourceful and sourceless and what their various states of living are. And I think if you want to do that and the party's persuaded, you and I talk in the next, between this session and next about like let's hammer out what they are. But like, yes, totally, they would have contacts.
Okay.
There are other outside forces in the sector you don't know about, probably, but there are probably other places that have this training ability.
Well, yeah,
But
it's either that.
She gave you the most like
straightforward.
straightforward. Not necessarily the cleanest or the most pleasant, but the ones known about.
Okay.
Like at least there's an exchange. Like I agreed to do this, and I'll be given this. Like here are 4. Yeah. So.
Okay.
Why don't we break? Think about it amongst yourselves, and we'll decide what we're going to do next.
Okay.
Is that fair?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
You guys want to take a quick
I know-
break? We'll be back in about 5 to 7 minutes. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching.